So just take a toothpick, break in half, insert a piece into the head and another piece into the body, okay? Or again, you can use candy. So now you've got the basic shape for your alligator, and you need to go ahead and add some eyes for him. We're also going to cut some toes here, or I don't know if they have toes, whatever you call them. So I like to make 3 little cuts, or 2 little cuts, I'm sorry, on each foot. And then you can gently separate those with your knife. Okay? And also, if you can, kind of turn the foot so that it's facing front, like he's actually moving. Okay? And now we can add the eyes. So take your remaining fondant. And I just do this by feel. I don't really measure. I cut off a couple of, or pull off a couple of pieces here to form his eyeballs. And they're really similar to the look of a frog. So you don't want them too tiny. You want them to be a little bulging. Just kind of measure and make sure they're the same size. If not, you can pinch off some fondant or just add a little bit more. Okay. Pinch off a little bit more. That one's still a little bit bigger than the other one. So once I've got that done, I'm happy with the size of the eyes. You want to form a circle, and then what I'm going to do with the bottom half of that circle is kind of gently flatten it and form almost like a triangle shape with his eyes. Just kind of a flattened triangle. And then I'm going to take here and press in where I'm going to put the white of his eyes. You have to be really careful not to distort the shape. It's really easy to do since this is a really tiny piece of fondant. And you want to brush that flattened side with water and go ahead and place it on the head and repeat that. Form the ball, gently flatten the bottom, and then make that flattened triangle look here. Go ahead and make your indentation for the eye. Brush the bottom with a little water. Add the second one there. Okay. So now we want to add his nostrils. And those are also kind of open. Again, pinch off 2 small pieces of fondant. Form that round shape. And holding it, give it another, indentation shape here. I think that's a little larger than I want his nose to be. So I'm going to pinch off just a little bit more. And try that again. And if your hands get a little warm like mine are starting to do, you can always brush them with a little sugar to prevent your fondant from sticking. Use a little tiny bit of water. And I like to brush both areas where I'm going to put his nose. And go ahead and make the second nostril Go ahead and give it the indentation. Brush with a tiny bit of water. Attach. And now I'm going to go ahead and put the whites of his eyes on. Now this is where our tip is going to come into play. And make sure my fondant is nice and soft. Brush a little shortening down on your surface. And go ahead and roll out your fondant. Again, not really thin, super thin, maybe about 1/4 of an inch. Take your tip and you're going to use the small end. Use your end of your decorator brush to kind of push that out. Okay? And once you get those 2 tiny little dots, you can flatten them just a bit. You see that there? Flatten it just a bit. Brush the back with water. Go ahead and attach it in the eyeball area. Be really careful not to destroy his nose. Again, brushing with a little water and gently attaching. Okay. His nose got pushed around a little bit. Now, while the eyes are drying, because I wouldn't recommend that you try to put your black marking on it now, especially if you're using a marker. Give that a little bit of time to dry. And there's a couple of things you can do to texture his body. You can either use your brush again, or if you want it to look really authentic, just like a real alligator, they've kind of got spikes. You can take your scissors and just kind of pinch up a row of spikes all the way down to the ends of his tail. And I would make a couple of rows. If you look at the alligators in real life and their crocodiles, it looks like they have about 3 or 4 rows of spikes. And you can do that all the way down to the tip of his tail. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and take my marker now and attempt to make the eyes, even though I know they're not really nice and dry. And just gently dot it. Okay. And then we're all done. Got your nice, ferocious alligator. Okay? Really simple, really easy to do. All right. Thanks for watching.